So be all
What's over
familiar
there?
with, well, that goes right around the corner, goes right back outside.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the old pirate folklore of a dead man's chest?
I've heard of it. Don't remember exactly.
How about the Pirates of the Caribbean? Dead
Yeah,
man's
that.
chest?
I need to make you watch Goonies.
That's a dead man's chest. Well, we're hoping to contract that in the spring, so that's
Yeah, I
what we
heard they
usually
were
like to
actually,
start.
rumors of the next year or so they're gonna have Goonies too. They got most of the principal actors back, so maybe if they do that, it'll get a whole bunch of people up here wanting to watch the original Goonies.
Oh, that's the fastest movie that's the funnest and fastest movie that sells out, so it's a popular movie. Watch your heads, watch your step, and stop the beginning of the handrail, that's where I'll get in front of you. You'll be able to raise back up over there.
Okay.
What's over there?
What's that?
Oh, that's the exit
Yep, that
right
goes
there.
right back outside.
Because I want to.
Now I'm going to tell you about some of the special features of this cavern. This right here will be one of the very few caves or caverns you will ever get to go to that you're going to go up into it.
Oh yeah.
Most of them go straight in or they go down. Now another fun thing about this cavern is that everywhere you look, you're going to find passages hidden off in the shadows. This one right over here, a little bit past where we're working, branches off into about 4 other passages. There's also 3 levels. This is a very, very mazy cavern. There's an entire lower passage. We're going to see part of the middle level on this tour, and then there's an upper level. So you can imagine stacking one huge maze right on top of another one. So this right here is a maze cave. Now we have a project right here because right up there around the corner, we know all this was filled in, but we don't know who or when it was done or why. So this past November, my wife decided, well, let's check it out. It's right here by the entrance. So we took our metal detectors, and that's the first thing we do is we scan it. Well, right over there, coming back this way towards us, our metal detectors just went nuts. So of course, we've been moving these big rocks and digging. We found an old piece of metal that we can date back to the early 1900s, around 1908. As we're going through there, it looks like that they covered up or concealed a tunnel. So this could be opening up a time capsule of the past that nobody's been in probably for 100 years. So we're pretty excited about that. So that's one of many projects we have. Right here, you do need to watch your heads, watch your steps. You can hold on to the handrails. The end of the handrail is a man-made wall. Hold on to that.
It looks like that could have been filled in, possibly, or some sort of avalanche.
Well, this was what we call cave breakdown. And it does happen naturally, but it's at the beginning of the cave's life cycle. That's when this whole cavern was full of water. You know, the water helps erode and dissolve out some of the limestone, and that's what leaves these big open spaces. So that's some of the erosion from back then. Now, are you familiar with limestone?
Not really.
Okay, well that's this type of rock. Limestone is a sedimentary rock. This entire region was once part of the ocean floor. So this rock, the limestone, is made up of layers of previous ocean life that's been compressed together. Now that's why we'll find lots and lots of fossils of ancient sea animals. We have one that's a bit unusual to see on a trail like this, and it's called a trilobite.
Oh yeah, I remember
Familiar with those?
I remember touching one in like a aquarium a while back.
Well, trilobites are extinct,
Right.
No,
but they have
scale.
some cousins.
Yeah, the scale.
Okay, so a trilobite would be a little animal that swim around on the bottom of the ocean, real similar like a horseshoe crab at today's time.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking
Now,
of.
these are animals that lived on the earth long before dinosaurs did, so we're going way, way back in time.
Yeah.
Let
They
me
even
show you.
predate grass.
Absolutely. Well, right here, I'm going to shine my light there, and you'll see an oval with the lines on it. That's a trilobite, so that's a prehistoric crab. Now, as we go to the cavern, when you pay attention to the ceilings and the walls, we'll find lots and lots of other fossils too. But pay attention to this. This is our duck walk, so make sure you duck down as we walk across.
Quack, quack.
Yes, and you can quack. Now right there where you're just looking, that's a real pretty area. This right up here is what we call the Bridles Fail. All the formations like this are onyx, and they're formed because there's water that drips down. In the water droplets, there's minerals that crystallize and build on top of each other.
Like stalagmites.
Stalactites and stalagmites, you're right. You know, most tour guides tell that the formations like that will form about a cubic inch every 100 years. But keep in mind, that's just a generalized guesstimate. It depends on the rate of water that flows through there and the mineral content of the water. All I can tell you, it takes a long, long time.
What's up there?
Well, we'll be up there a little bit later. And right down here is one of our excavation projects. Where we're standing, about 28 feet beneath us, there's a massive river passage. I took my teams and we floated in boats through part of that river. It stopped where this rock wall was. It's a hand-stacked, man-made wall. So we started surveying and mapping it out. We overlaid that bottom survey to this middle level. When we did that, it pinpointed to this location. All this has been filled in by man. So we started to dig straight down so we can get on the other side of the rock wall and see what was hidden. Now, we don't know who did this. We don't know when or why. I can just tell you it was done a long, long time ago. All this is put on the back burner because we have new expeditions going on now. So we're pretty excited about those too.
What was the first one that y'all started?
The expedition, oh my goodness. I've been here for 29 years, so that's kind of hard to tell. We've started a lot of things. We found so many fun things. And so I'll point these out as we go through, okay?
Okay.
We're not going to go any further that way. Just kind of stops.
Yeah.
So watch your heads and steps. I'll let you lead us back to the main trail. Now the trail we're on, this is all a natural cave floor. We're trying to keep the cabin in its most natural state as we can and still bring people through. There are going to be little dips in it. Of course, where it's wet, it could be a little slippery, so take your time, be careful. And we're going to walk this way. We'll be in that part of the cabin later. First, we're going to go straight ahead. So y'all familiar with your stalactites and stalagmites?
Yeah.
Do you remember which one grows which way?
Stalactites, I think, grow downwards, stalagmites upwards.
You look up here, you can see a variety of those. Stalactites, an easy way to remember those, hold tight to the ceiling. Stalagmites in the ground, you remember the stalagmites because you might trip over them. Now those little bitty stalactites up there, what we call soda straws. They're hollow on the inside. The water's dripping down on the inside and it leaves mineral rings as it's flowing through there. Now I'll show you all a real pretty view of this area. Up here around the corner is one of my favorite views. You will have to watch your heads and steps here. Now we cannot touch this, but I want you to look at it. We know the concrete was poured back in 1940. Since 1940, the water's been dripping down, it's depositing the minerals, and they've been crystallizing. Now it looks like somebody just sprayed glitter all over it. If we were allowed to touch that, it would quit sparking, so it would quit growing. That's why it's all of our jobs to make sure we don't do that. But look up here, this is a little bit more advanced stage. Now you can come up here in front of me and look at this from this viewpoint. This right up here is what we call the land of 1,000 lakes.
They look like stairs, like little mini stairs.
Well, in the wet seasons, all those are pools of water. And what happens is the water evaporated. We're in a dry season now. So the water evaporated, and that's what left all those pretty mineral crystals behind. Now, do you like fossils?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got a site collection. I think I got scorpion and amethyst and like what was that thing?
Amethyst? Or not, amber?
Amber.
Yes, yeah, that.
Okay. Well, look up here. The entire ceiling is covered in fossils. All those little bitty ones look like little Cheerios.
Looks like there might be one right here.
There's a whole bunch of them. Now, you can see some nice ones up and through here.
Nice.
Now, these are broken up pieces and parts. These are crinoid buttons or plates. You put them together, they form these stems. And then look at this. You'll see some long stems right there. Now, the complete animal looks a lot like a plant, kind of like a fern. They thought those were extinct, but many years ago, a diver went down into the ocean. He discovered a colony of living crinoids and took a picture of one. I have that picture there in the log cabin. I can show you what a living crinoid looks like. Now, this is a very common fossil found in this region. You can walk along any bluff line, creek bed, or gravel road and find these crinoids. Sometimes in a loose state, they have a hole in them. People call those Indian beads. Native Americans would string them up and make jewelry and stuff out of them. So that's what they are, they're fossils. Watch your steps here and pull off that handrail. Well, that passage over there is a really fun one. We call this the peanut butter clay tunnel. Well, if you were to crawl through there in the wet seasons, it's just like crawling through a big tub of peanut butter. It's a real slimy, sticky mess, which is a lot of fun. Now, if y'all remember this side, I'll show you where it comes out later. We'll go to the same room, just through a little different direction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think y'all came prepared to do that kind of caving today.
I'm fine with doing it.
Well, that's where you gotta wear your hard hats and gloves and coveralls, so
Okay.
you gotta be protected and protect the cave too. Now, this room we're coming up into, this is the council room. There are 18 passages that branch off as one room alone.
I think that is that one room?
Oh yeah, there's 2 passages, 3 actually. There's a lower one, an upper one, and the upper one splits off. So this just goes everywhere. Did y'all get a chance to look at this real pretty wall? My wife calls this the jellyfish wall. When you use your imagination, she thinks it looks like a bunch of jellyfish swimming in the ocean. Now, if you have a bunch of jellyfish, of course you have to have a sand castle. So there's our sand castle up there. I've had other folks tell me it looks like the nose of a dragon. So we'll just let y'all decide what you like.
It looks like the little white thing, and it looks like a little bit like salt.
Mm-hmm. Or how about a candle?
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice the old campsite right there in the middle?
Yeah.
Most of that's original, but it does not date back to conquistadors. A man by the name of George Dunbar found a couple of gold coins and a bracelet. When he found those items, he started living inside the cavern. Now, he stayed down here until about 1912. That's right before he passed on. Well, we're going to step down here. I'm going to show what he did and, of course, what we're doing, because these are some of our big excavation projects going on right now. Just hold on to the handrails and watch your step as we step down.
Like this could have been like animal prints or something.
It kind of looks like that, but it's actually where water was dripping down and kind of drilling into the clay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen animal prints. They like the depths and stuff like in size would match some of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the track could be. The track from the room could have gone from.
And the man that was living here, George Dunbar, started one of the earlier mining operations here in Arkansas. It's called the Sulphur Springs Cave Company. And that's back in 1908. Now, they installed these small gauge rail tracks throughout the cavern, had little donkeys pulling ore carts over those tracks as we're excavating and searching for the treasure. We were told all the tracks were removed except this one section right up here. We believed that until not too long ago. Me and my wife were down here, we're doing some maintenance work. We started messing around with our metal detectors. They kept going off in 2 straight rows. So we've been digging down. We are now recovering the original tracks laid in 1908. They're not supposed to be here. After further study, we found this entire room was buried and concealed by man. We don't know who did this or when or why, but we do know that a lot of these flat rocks and a whole bunch more were laid on top of the rails. For whatever weird reason, they covered it up. Now, since we wanted to investigate and find out why, I met a guy a few years ago, and we became friends, and he's the man that actually invented the device and method to do some underground imaging and mapping, real similar to ground penetrating radar. He developed some new equipment and wanted to field test it. He came back over here, his name's Tim, and we call him the LRL man, but he was scanning the floor, and we found that right over there. This is September of 2023. We don't even know what it is.
Could be like some sort of casket, maybe. right
Well,
size.
that's what we were afraid of when we first started uncovering it, but after further looking at that, it's not. See, this had a bolt that's been broke, so there's a bolt right there, one right there, one right there, right there. This is a time period, and when they set those or anchored those in with melted lead. So I haven't done anything like that in a long, long time. But if you look around the perimeter, you can see the outline of a base, a metal base that was bolted down on this. We just don't know what they used it for. This is an extremely heavy piece of concrete.
Possibly a table, maybe?
Well, you wouldn't,
And that's a lot of work for a flat surface.
right, and that, they were bolting something down on that they didn't want to move. So we just don't know what it was. It's possibly something over there, and we're starting an excavation right there to dig down. I think we just got to dig it all up and put it all together and see what we can find. Did I tell you all how much treasure or tell you what's hidden in here?
Yeah, it's all those gold coins and some jewelry. That's what I remember.
Well, that's what George Dunbar found. We have an idea what's here because the conquistadors, they document their travels through journals and ledgers that keep records for the King of Spain. It was his property. Most of the research was done in the 40s and early 50s. Said that there were 3 chests of gold coins, a stack of bars, and a stack of statuary. The estimated the value of the treasure would have been worth over $40 million at that time. Of course, gold prices have gone up a lot since 1950. So we could be talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. And here just a little bit, I'll show you what we think it is and tell you why. Do you have any questions or anything yet?
Does any of the passages up here maybe possibly lead to the above levels?
Well, not all of these that we're looking at are just the whole middle, or part of the middle level passages. You have to go up a little further, like up there, and there's a way to get to the upper passage from over there too. But you have to climb quite a bit up to get to those. Survey station. We have a permanent survey station because we have so many different passages, and when we do the mapping, we try to keep them all accurate, so keep common points, reference points. But the chimney, you look up here in the middle of the room, there's a big stalagmite. If you look beyond that, you see an opening. That opening right there goes all the way to the top of the mountain, so that's the chimney. The darkened areas over there to the far left are smoke stains or soot stains from their fires, still preserved in the...
Yeah, I remember seeing stuff like that in the cave meeting Gwen went to see because they burned like tires and stuff in there.
Was that Cosmic Cavern over by
I think so.
Okay, sure. Well, this has been in since 1500s.
Yeah, not tires.
Right.
Goodyear hadn't invented vulcanized rubber by then.
Now, we're standing about 60, 65 feet below the surface. When we get back to the heart, we'll be 120 feet. Of course, we're going straight in as the mountain is going up. Right up here is a nice feature to the cabin. This is a natural bridge. I like to call this our hope rock. That's because we hope it doesn't fall. Little cave humor there. You do need to watch your heads here. You don't find too many natural bridges underground, so it is a unique feature. Straight ahead, you can see the floor is squared off. We're going to be walking where the rail tracks used to be. In the early to mid-30s, they ran out of money on their treasure hunt, so they sold the iron for scrap iron. They're taking tours through here so they could collect enough money to shut it back down and continue on. Keep in mind, they did not have all these nice modern electric lights, so they used carbide lanterns and kerosene lanterns. Well, we set this area up here so y'all could experience what the first explorers would experience. Watch your heads. Of course, we like to have a little bit of fun there. You can take a picture of that to show your friends what you found here in that cave in Arkansas. Just have a little bit of fun. You do have to overlook the buckets because we are working on a tunnel right up here around the corner. But just a little bit past that, it drops down into a spring. We have 3 springs and a lake in the lower part of the cavern. Right now, the water just kind of barely trickles through there, but in the wet seasons, it just roars through. There's an entire room underneath all of that right over there. Of course, we're not going to go there today. You didn't come here for that kind of caving. I'm going to shine my light on the floor so you can see the floor is squared off. It's flat. So is the ceiling. Now, of course, you have to duck a bit, but I'll turn off my light. And as we go through here, imagine exploring the cavern in this kind of lighting condition. The big question is, would you do it?
Probably not, given that it's super dark and that you basically can't even see the floor.
Well, they thought they were gonna get $40 million. Now, would you do it if you thought you were gonna get $40 million?
More tempting, yeah.
Of course, the truth of it is treasure hunting is never a guarantee. Now, we believe the treasure is right up here around the corner. We are currently working on this. We're working on to open this up so we can bring on back here. Sometime this next year, we'll have it opened up this next season. Now, that's where we think the treasure is. We have a lot of fun stuff going on. On the back wall to the right, in the wet seasons, there's a waterfall that flows down there. I got my curiosity up, so I grabbed my teams. We climbed up through the waterfall, the little opening in the ceiling, and we discovered a couple little rooms. So it gives us opportunity to do some more exploring. Now it drops down into a spring. It was pretty close to about 12, 14 years ago. We had a severe drought, another one just throughout this region. When a lot of the rivers were drying up, the lake
Now,
table
whenever
was
you can
dropping
see
way down.
Montenay, these ruins, the lake was low enough.
Yes. Well, when that happened, we got down here, we found symbols carved in the wall. What we found looked kind of like a candy cane, had an eyeball there and a squiggly line above the eyeball. Now we interpreted that as turn around, look underneath the water. We were not standing in the water. So I turned around and looked where the eye was pointing. There's a little space between the floor and the wall. Looking at little space, there's a little room with a long pool of water. Now we immediately started digging down to open up that entrance. We found this very, very old wood that was just encased in the clay. It was falling apart as we were taking it out. Before we could open up big enough to get into, the rains came in, the water table rose. It's been flooded almost since then. There's only a few times out of the year we can even do that excavation. Now the last successful time was at the end of the spring of 2022. We went down here, we're doing some excavation, some digging, and for the first time ever, the water receded just enough. It revealed the top portion of a hidden water tunnel. So that water goes down more, we're pushing through. We broke the drought outside, a little while back, but we're still going through a bit of a cave drought. So the water's continuing to recede. If that happens, well, a little bit later, we're gonna be squeezing through there and seeing if that's where our treasure is. So we're pretty excited about it. Watch your heads, you. You can hold on to the handrails and watch your steps here. As you can see, we made it to another junction here. There's several different passages. I'm going to shine my light down here now. Now this passage goes back a long, long ways. It'll jump into another passage we call the 16-mile tunnel. We don't really believe it goes 16 miles, but I've never seen the end of it. Once you get back there, you belly crawl through about 10 or 12 feet, opens up into a huge canyon passage. Ceiling height's about 30, 35 feet tall. Of course, we're not going to go back there, but I did take a camera back there a few years ago, and I filmed some of that in some of these other areas. So if you go to our YouTube channel, then you can check that out and see what some of this other stuff looks like. So that's pretty fun. So hold on to the handrails and watch your steps here. Now, right before the Discovery Science Channel was here, we found another part of the cavern back there. So we're pretty excited about that too. We've got some more work to get further into it. You do need to watch your heads here.
Oh, that looks like a helmet or something.
We call that our helmet rock. It is a stalagmite, and it was right over here at one time, but when the wet season comes, this is a little waterfall, and of course it eroded away, so somebody just set it right back up there.
What time of year is generally the wet season?
It corresponds with the seasons outside.
Oh, okay.
So in the springtime is when we have a lot of the wet season. Well, watch your step and watch your head right there.
That looked like it leads somewhere. Else.
Well, we are digging that out. This is all packed in with clay. So we want to find out where it goes. Now, if you YouTube us, that's the Shaman Tunnel. So that's kind of a fun tunnel we started. But right here, watch your step and watch your head. When you get in there, look up in the ceiling. You'll see the heart. I'll let you be the leader.
I think I see what you mean by that. The heart.
Right, it's not like your Valentine's heart.
Yeah.
See, it's an old caving tradition that if you find a new room, whoever finds it gets to name it. So somebody a long, long time ago looked up there and said it looked like a heart. That's how it got its name. Now the cabin itself, it continues off to the right and to the left, but this is as far back to this side we go to.
What's further down straight?
The one that you're looking at, that is another way to get into the 16-mile tunnel.
Oh, just felt another drip of water fall on me.
Oh yeah, well we call those cave kisses. They're supposed to be good luck. Just watch your steps and watch your heads as we go to this area. Go ahead and hold on to the handrail and watch your step. Just meet me in that junction. Just watch your head there.
Yeah, definitely a little slippery.
Did y'all notice this rock formation right up here?
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of folks tell me it looks like the bottom of a sunken ship.
Yeah. Our ship.
We call it the Titanic.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep, you use that imagination, you'll just see all kinds of fun stuff. Before we leave this part of the cabin, do y'all have any questions about the cabin, this area so far?
Roughly how many soldiers lived in this, like, were in the cave?
The
Well, the
conquistadors.
conquistadors,
Conquistadors.
by studying some of the documentation, they said that there were 19 named soldiers. There may have been more than that, but at least there were at least 19 that was here at the cabin.
Definitely a big space for 19.
Absolutely. Well, they may have had a slave force here too, of the Native Americans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of soldiers. Well, they were pretty mean to the Native Americans.
Yeah.
This tunnel we're getting ready to go to, from our waist down, was all hand dug. George Dunbar and his crew of 4 guys dug this down so they could lay rail tracks to get donkeys and ore carts through. Now, I don't know if y'all have ever had a chance to dig a hole in this region.
Yeah, not fun.
Okay, so you can appreciate how much work this is. It's a lot of tough work. Well, we have a dig site right up here around the corner. We are very, very excited about it. There's part of the cave over here that no human has ever seen before. We want to be the first people. Now, through this tunnel, you're going to see a bunch of these survey flags. That's because we had scanned the floor, and in the path, where each one of these flags are, there's something metal. Probably some old rail track mining stuff. Maybe tools, wheels, something. Later this winter, we'll be digging all that up to see what it is.
That looks like it goes down.
Well, this is our first attempt to get to this room. Now, the reason why we know there's something here is because when you look along the wall, it looks like a big crack. All right, it's a joint. It's where 2 plates of the rock have come together. Now, think of that like a big jigsaw puzzle. This joint is going straight back in an angle that way. Behind me and around the corner, there's several more joints heading this direction. Now, when all these are intersecting, there's going to be an open space or a room. So by measuring the angles and distances between those, It'll give you an idea of how big this room could be. If our estimates are correct, the room beyond this wall will be 3 times bigger than the council room.
Dang.
So we want to get back there and check it out. That's our first attempt. We have another attempt around the corner a little ways. I don't know if you've noticed my voice has kind of changed just a little bit, especially when we lean to this wall.
Yeah, echo.
If you point your voice anywhere along the wall on the right, if you hum kind of a lower tone, if you hit the right note, you can hear it throughout the entire
Oh, resonance frequency.
Yeah. I do.
Do y'all want to try? It's going to be the louder but lower tone. We'll do it together. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that definitely looked pretty loud.
That wall is hollow.
Pretty cool. Bring your cello in here and be able
Oh, yeah.
to tune it to that and see if we can get the same thing from a musical note.
Yep.
Is it like a
Yeah, C, G, and A. C, G, D, and A is what I have from there. So.
See that joint there? So now you know that they're going to intersect, and it happens further up the path there too.
The big one.
Yes, this is what happens when the stalactites and stalagmites reach and join. Do y'all know what those are now called when it happens?
I don't remember.
What does it look like?
Not sure.
pillar?
Well, that's what you sleep on.
Oh. No.
Little cave humor. How about a column? Columns are the hardest formations for people to remember. I think it's because it's easy. Now, these are onyx. We talked a little bit about the formations being onyx. Did you know onyx is translucent? Let me shine my light through this. You can see the light right through there.
Yeah, I remember doing that at the previous cave. Like the person that was doing that one did that for that.
Very cool. Well, we like to show you all that the onyx is translucent, so. Now, since y'all like caves and caverns, when we get back to the log cabin, I'll get you a passport. Or do you have one?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Well, I can get you a cave and cabin passport to Arkansas and Caves and Missouri Caves. So each one you go to, you get it signed or stamped, and you can earn some patches and badges and stuff. Doesn't cost anything, but just go on tours and enjoy going to visiting caves. There's that other joint I was talking about. That's our newer dig site. We dug through about 45 feet. Got into a little room we call the turnaround room. Of course, we turn around, we come back out, but there's a little stream of water on the floor. If that water was deep enough, we're just going to push on through, see if we can get through there.
That looks like it could go somewhere. It goes
Well,
to another room.
I've been on the other side of that. Of course, it's got a bunch of smoke stains there, but I can look through there and I can see the light from the trail from here. Now, it's up here around the corner.
I wonder with all the development and population shifting up here, how's it going to affect the water table? Is that going to end up making it easier for y'all to get low water marks, or?
Well, the spring rains kind of keep the reservoirs and the rivers. It's an entire water system down here. But what affects it more is droughts.
Oh, okay.
Looks like
you know,
something's down there. See,
So I know if like the
See,
fact that we're kind of depleting the water table pretty good.
Yeah, everybody's doing that 10-ton water for the Beaver Lake water supply. So that's not going to affect this. That's a man-made reservoir. Down there, that's what I was talking about. Now, once you squeeze through there, you can actually stand up, or most of us could stand up around the corner there and get into the crystal room. But that's where I was looking through a little tunnel and saw that area.
that's that little tunnel.
Now, watch your step here.
And it looks like plastic, like with how shiny it is.
And this is a drapery formation. Unfortunately, the draperies here were removed because they were getting the donkeys and ore carts through.
Water right there.
Hey, give it a
It's
couple
going
centuries,
outside.
it'll reform.
And some water just flowing along this.
More than a
it'll
couple
start-
centuries.
Yeah, it'll start to form back. It's already happening, but in a very, very slow time. Watch your heads up here. Headed back to the council room.
I thought I recognized the room.
So we call that the horseshoe tunnel. We went in right over there, and then we came out over there. So it just makes a big horseshoe loop. This is a great place for questions. If y'all have any questions about the cavern or this area, I'll be glad to answer those.
It goes further down there.
Well, that path over there kind of goes back that way a little bit. It goes back 85 feet. It gets into a room we call the rainfall room. There's a 30-foot waterfall over there. That's one my wife wants me to open up. So we're going to try and figure out how we can do that. We have a lot of projects, so that won't happen. These projects take years. It's nothing that happens soon, quickly.
It seems like plenty of like pickaxes and like what looks like a little like long shovel or something that's like curved on the inside. It just goes there's like a little curve and with like a stick handle or something. Like a few times going down that.
A trenching shovel?
Oh, yeah, I know what the one that was leaning against
Yeah.
the wall? Okay. Yeah, we made that shovel. It's specifically for digging in clay. It's just a little easier because it's kind of got a nice scoop, and so it's especially to dig in the clay.
Okay.
Now, we do have another room to go to. It's a real pretty one called the Enchanted Forest, and it's right up here on the way back. So you can hold on to the handrails and watch your steps here.
Does anything go further down in those areas?
Oh yeah, the upper one or the lower? See the upper one, there's a passage that hooks off to the left. There's also one to the right. It's hard to see that one. The one that goes down there, that branches off into 5 passages.
Dang.
So,
Yeah, I think y'all got a lot to explore.
yes. But it's a lot of fun. Remember that peanut butter clay tunnel? Mm-hmm. Now we're going to the room on the other side, but we're going to go up this way. A little easier to go. And a whole lot cleaner. Now, of course, make sure y'all watch your steps and watch your heads as we go through here.
Looks like this is more concrete right here.
Yes, and it was poured also back in the 1940s, but doesn't have the water that's dripping down on it to make those a real pretty area. Watch your heads up here. Now that passage over there is the other side of the peanut butter clay tunnel. So you can imagine coming through there. Of course, it looks a lot different now from this side. You can imagine coming through there and look at all those pretty formations over there. That's the Enchanted Forest over there. You can use your imagination and see all kinds of fun stuff. Now you can step up closer to the gate, just don't go over the gate.
Yeah. Go over the gate and have a bad day.
That looks like an easy like 10-foot drop right there.
Well, we were standing down there earlier.
Yeah, I don't think the rock's soft either.
No.
Yeah. Looks like there's a few like there's a little passage right there along that.
You went through there a little earlier. That's one of the first rooms you went into the cavern. And you saw the Bridals Veil, which is around the corner. This is just a little different view of this room. This is a great place for questions. If you have any questions about the cavern or this area.
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like a test or anything. Well, if you're not all caved out, there are other caves in this region that are nice to visit. We have our neighbors right up the road called Bluff Dwellers. Even though we're real close together, we're nothing alike. They're 2 totally different caves. They're nice folks. It's a nice cave, so we recommend that one.
Is it
Weird
possible
Little
that
Cavern
these-
is closed this time of year. What's that?
Is it possible that these 2 caves could be connected?
No, they're on different layers, so it's just 2 different types of caves. This when you go, if you get a chance to go there, you'll see the cavern just looks completely different than this one. But I'll get you that passport, and that way you can go to all these caves.
And you probably know a lot about caves. Any of them that you'd recommend as far as like the most educational or the ones that are, well, not run by assholes or anything? Like, which one would you recommend us go to?
Okay. With this time of year, of course, Bluff Dwellers, they're open.
with
A
us
lot,
living
lot of
here,
them,
we can
yeah,
go
a
run it.
lot of them are closed this time of year. You know, you've been to Cosmic Cavern, that's a great cave to visit. Onyx Cave, it doesn't have any tour guide. You wear a headset.
Yeah.
They were talking about getting tour guides, so maybe they're gonna do
Yeah,
that.
I think that's the one me and Mom and Gwen went to, because remember doing like a headset thing for the cave that we went to.
And you walked on like a little yellow line or something.
Yeah.
I
think
but
that's the
that's a
one.
nice cave. I mean, all of them are nice. You see some unique things.
Fallout shelter.
This is the real deal. Shortly after World War II, there's always a threat of another country bombing this one. So the Civil Defense designated this as a nuclear fallout shelter. There was a huge stack of cans around the corner. We were just cleaning some of the nicer ones up here so you can see what the real stuff looks like. I just want to let y'all see what the real deal is. And the bigger ones have medical supplies. But they did that shortly after World War II and carried it on through the Cold War, the 70s, 60s, 70s. Watch your step here.
Iodine pills and rations.
Have you found any like type of like
You're
food?
watching the Fallout series with me, or
I remember starting it. I didn't haven't
Right.
finished it.
the same? I mean, I guess it's sort of similar.
Watch your heads here.
You remember starting it?